So I'd like to welcome our speaker today, Beth Sair. Beth is a very experienced Chicago tour guide who brings a really unique point of view to her Chicago tours, and we're really pleased to have her with us today. So welcome, Beth.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I did say right before we started recording that you will get a handout at the end that will be sent to you. This is not the order of the handout today. I'm talking to you in order of theme. So we'll start with communities, then go to celebrities, and then we'll hit some whimsical characters. And Chicago is recognized as an architectural wonder. Today, we will take a closer look and you'll see the canvas the city's become for artists to express themselves through mural art. They've beautified the outside of buildings, vacant lots, walkways, elevated stations, and viaducts, lots of viaducts. For decades, you could find striking murals all around Chicago, historical ones in Pilsen, but with more respect from the local community, street art has thrived in the past few years. Diverse artists, both local and international, some new to this style, others already well known, have used the unique canvases around the city to depict historic events, pay homage to cultural and political icons, and even some whimsical characters. They've celebrated righteous causes. Others have just had fun. Since the pandemic began, artists have used this medium to convey the complicated and ever-changing emotions that we have felt at times. And now I would like to share with you some of my favorite murals and some of the most unique in and around Chicagoland. The majority have been done since 2015. So now we will start at 2226 North Milwaukee, a vacant lot. And here you see there are actually two murals next to one another. We will come back to the first mural, and we will start with the postcard of Chicago. Greetings from Chicago. It captures the many elements that make up the essence of Chicago. Look, you see the blue background. It's a tribute to the Chicago flag. And if you look closely, the letter C illustrates the famous deep dish pizza and the Chicago style hot dog. The H, that highlights our beautiful skyline. The I displays the Chicago flag and the Illinois Centennial Monument right in the middle of Logan Square. C, you ask, what is that blue and that reddish purple? It's Chicago's extreme weather. That is so abstract that maybe you'll just feel the heat of our humidity or the chill of our sub-zero weather. A, it shows off our well-known professional sports teams. G, pays tribute to Chicago's jazz scene with the image of the extraordinary Muddy Waters, and we'll meet his personal mural when we study celebrities. And you see Save Ferris from the reference to the 80s movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And O is a view of Millennium Park, the Bean sculpture, better known as Cloud Gate, and the famous stone container building, now Crane Communications in the background. This was the first postcard mural done in the United States in 2015. And Victor Ving and Lisa Beggs knew they had a great idea. From Chicago, they went on to Seattle, Boston, New Orleans. They all have postcard murals now. Let's continue and go. We'll travel south on the Kennedy, get off at Randolph. If any of you were fortunate enough to have brunch at Ina's restaurant, this is the parking lot of the former Ina's restaurant. It's now Illuminati's parking lot. It is beautiful. O.J. Hayes felt that he wanted to convey that there was strength in the community at the beginning of the pandemic. He just felt that there was a real problem with mental health, that people really needed to support one another. So he felt that the beautiful, bright yellows and oranges, he felt that if we had paid homage to our architecture and then conveyed that there is strength in having community and having a support system in troubled times, that we'd feel better. And that's what he wanted to convey. It's 110 feet long. It is really a beautiful tribute to Chicago. And let's now travel to the northeast corner of Chicago, Rogers Park. This community in 2006 met the community activists and the business community. They met and they discussed that they wanted to beautify their community. They wanted to paint the outside of their apartment buildings. And they wanted to have they didn't know in 2006, but they wanted to have a mile of murals running along the CTA Red Line track from Estes to Pratt. So first, let's start at Howard and Sheridan Road. This is very close to Lake Michigan. You can't, if you drive due east towards the lake, you're gonna miss this mural. It is a three-dimensional mural, 3D on the side of an apartment building, but you either have to approach it from the east or pull in the alley or the gas station to view this, because the mural is on the side of the apartment building in the alley. This 3D mural, you see there's a red window, a yellow, a blue, a green. These help give the distinction to help you feel the three dimensions. You see we saw the women passing flowers and the boy playing his trumpet and the bicycle mechanic passing the wheel to the girl in the next window. We see a girl with her dandelions and the boy climbing the light post and the puppeteer. They're all three-dimensional on the side of a very old apartment building. The artist, Borge, he really wanted to show that we're all different, but we can coexist together. He really did this extremely well. And now we're going to go to that mile of murals here along the CTA Red Line track from Pratt down along Glenwood. These are the activists from the community who felt that they wanted to feature the heart of Rogers Park. They were so successful. It took them 10 years, but they were successful in creating murals under the viaducts, along the train tracks, on the walls, the buildings, the fences. They were so successful that they were able to engage the National Audubon Society. The National Audubon Society sent 6 artists who painted under this L viaduct, the Red Line, and we have the tree swallow and the Baltimore oriole and the hooded merganser and the sapsucker and the red-breasted nuthatch. But what did the National Audubon Society wanted? What did they want to convey? They put up a plaque. They wanted you to know, in 2016, they wanted you to know that 314 of 588 bird species were endangered. There was an environmental crisis. They were threatened by the climate change that compromised their migratory pattern. There was a reduced food supply, depreciated air quality. And this plaque and these beautiful birds are still vibrant today. Let's travel to Toohey and Glenwood. And here, if you drive through this rusted, ugly viaduct, you don't realize how the top has, you don't see the top. You feel you are in a forest of birch trees. And birch trees were native to this area pre-industrialization. So you see that the columns are starting to crumble, but the birch trees look really inviting, quiet. You do feel as if you're in a forest. And then further along, you see a little girl in her bed, in her dreams. You feel that the human mind and imagination can dream up something beautiful. Here along the CTA tracks is a commemoration of Barack Obama, who kicked off his Senate campaign at the Heartland Cafe. The Heartland Cafe does not exist anymore. It was the center of the community-based art, music, political activism for 4 decades. But now we just have this mural to commemorate it. And we have more commemorations of the Native Americans, the birch trees. Our first developers, Philip Rogers and Patrick Toohey. And if you've been to Rogers Park, you know that everyone got there on the elevated. And that started in 1896. If you were lucky enough to be in Rogers Park long, long ago, you'd stop at Ashkenaz, Jewish style deli, and you'd have your pastrami or corned beef or kosher dill pickle. It was the place to be, and it is commemorated here on this wall. Now let's travel just a little bit to Clark and Greenleaf. This is the side wall of the Honey Bear Cafe. This wall was covered in black graffiti. It was really depressing. It was after George Floyd's killing. The neighbors and the people in the neighborhood were so upset that what did they do? They painted the wall with black. Well, the artist Christina Jacques didn't enjoy that. She's an artist. She knew she could make this neighborhood a better place. And she approached the owner of the Honey Bear Cafe. And she said, I can change this wall. I can make it uplifting. We could have a sun. We could have sprouts. We could have flowers and trees and love and growth. And we could tell people that there's a better world out there. And sure enough, you see, she did the sun in the very center and it's pushing away the rain clouds. And you see those sprouts and it just makes you feel much better. And this has not been defaced in any way. And the neighborhood loves this new mural. And it's certainly much better than the black graffiti. We're now going to travel to the south side to 38th and Michigan Avenue. This is another community-based project. The people in Bronzeville wanted to commemorate their leaders, the role models. So they were able to enlist Sean Michael Warren, a phenomenal portrait artist. And Little Black Purple is a very famous art gallery. And who are they commemorating? Katherine Johnson. If you were fortunate enough to see the movie Hidden Figures, she's the brilliant mathematician, the brains behind the launch of astronaut John Glenn into orbit. And next to her is Gwendolyn Brooks, the poet, the author, the Pulitzer Prize winner. Next to Gwendolyn Brooks, Louis Latimer, the inventor of the incandescent light bulb. Next to him, hopefully you all recognize the journalist and activist Ida B. Wells. And then there is the late Mayor Harold Washington. And look at these beautiful portraits. Now, they were painted on fabric. The fabric is attached to a board. The board is attached to the microgrid. This is the Commonwealth Edison microgrid in this ugly vacant lot. Now, further on, you have the students and achievers and award recipients are featured. This is 120 feet long. It's the neighborhood's historic legacy. It is in partnership with ComEd and the local artists. And let me say that this is augmented reality. So if you have a smartphone, you can download the Bronzeville Mural app. You can stand horizontal to parallel to the wall, and these characters will come alive. It is mind-boggling. So I think that you would enjoy this. I've been here on an early Sunday morning. It is amazing. 2 blocks south at 39th in Michigan, we have these phenomenal, these photo murals. This runs the whole length of this building. It's called Stations. These photos were taken in 1941 by the photographer Russell Lee. He did such a phenomenal job catching the spirit, the people. They were so alive and beautiful here in Bronzeville, 1941. Chris Devens, the urban planner and artist, enlarged these negatives and used special wheat paste and affixed them to the whole length of this building. And you can see the children are so alive, and it's 1941. Let's travel to Maxwell Street. This artist, Nick Gottling, I think he captured Maxwell Street. He's got the workers. In the very center of the mural, you have Jane Addams and Ellen Gates Starr, the founders of the nearby Hull House. And then Nick captured Chicken Man, who used to entertain, and the citizens, the neighborhood, would dance and party and work off all that stress from during the week. And I think that Nick captured it beautifully. Here is the Wall of Hope. This is in Pilsen. Now, Pilsen has a mural about every block. It is a phenomenal community. I chose the newest murals. This mural says it's a wall of hope. It encompasses an entire building, home of San Jose Obrera Mission, a nonprofit that provides shelter and employment services to the Latino community. The entire wall of hope was painted by artists from the Youth Initiative of the National Museum of Mexican Art in Pilsen. And look, it's 3 walls. It is beautiful. I'd want to go there. And then this 4-story mural, Kind of Blue, is the largest mural in the area at 21st and Racine. There I am standing in the frigid cold. It was inspired by an album by the jazz great Miles Davis. The mural features a young woman sitting by her record player, and you see the books and the phonograph. But what does this young lady have in her hand? She has an apple. The apple is a little hint that what's behind that wall, it's a food dispensary. They are giving food to those in need. And I think it's a wonderful, wonderful mural. Look, the newest mural, dedicated just less than 2 months ago at the corner of 18th and Ashland. That's Samantha Kirk featured. She is outstanding. She grew up in Pilsen and she never felt as if she was accepted. If she wanted to have any activity, she would go north to North Halstead or Andersonville. But now you can see she painted this is called Fierce. It depicts the Progress Pride flag swirling around 7 people expressing themselves in their queer identity. Fierce represents joy and freedom, and it brings the visibility of the queer community on the south and the west sides. I think she did a great job. So Sam Kirk said, I just wanted to show being gay is a global thing. It's in every culture and every community. We celebrate our culture along with our queer identity. And I think she captured it beautifully. And this was just unveiled 2 months ago. Here at the very south end of the loop, it used to be on Congress Parkway, which is now called Ida B. Wells Drive. This is from 2019. Dwight White II went to school at Northwestern University here in Evanston and was on the football team. After an injury, he decided he really wanted to be an artist. And look, he was able to paint this 4-story mural. And in 2019, it was quite true. All roads lead back to the loop. The mural honors the 370,000 people who worked in the loop in 2019. Let's see another mural done by Dwight White II. It's in the medical district. Now, just southwest of the loop, is Stroger and Rush and the University of Illinois Hospital. And there are murals all over this neighborhood. It's murals for medical relief. And Dwight White II, he was able to capture the nurse that he saw every night come home so tired and so fatigued. She'd come into his apartment building, he'd see her from the parking lot. And he wanted to capture the essence of all the doctors and the nurses and the first responders. They were the glue holding the world together. And he did such a beautiful job featuring this beautiful nurse. This is the side of a hot dog stand on Levitt Street. And here, a beautiful doctor racing to work. Her stethoscope is flying. It's on the side of an apartment building. And she must live in the neighborhood because she's racing to work on her bicycle. Another mural by Samantha Kirk is located on Hubbard Street on the old B line. And look, Sam Kirk wanted us to remember, take time to say thank you. Remember, we have to say thank you to all the people holding this all together. We got a pandemic out there, and she wanted to feature 4 frontline workers: the Latino union, the postal worker, the domestic worker, and the school room manager, the lunchroom manager. And here's some of the artists that worked with Sam Kirk. It's wonderful. Let's go to Lakeview, Lincoln, Belmont, and Ashland, a very large parking lot at the intersection of the 3 streets. Anthony Llewellyn, the artist, grew up here in Lakeview, went to school at Lakeview High School, and he was thrilled that he could stand on that scaffolding and paint the largest artwork he had ever done. He wanted to capture the spirit of Lakeview, the cityscape, and the Chicago sky and water scene. And anybody who lives in Lakeview just loves being near the lake. It's wonderful. Let me say that the photo was taken in the fall. Right now, the bottom third of the mural is covered with the trees that are in full leaf, full bloom. Here is the side of CVS. This long, long wall stretches on Southport. It's north of Addison, fairly close to Wrigley Field. And this artist, Louise Wheezy Jones, is famous as a floral artist. She can paint flowers, I think, better than anyone here. And she was able to capture the chrysanthemum, the coneflower, the roses. Just imagine how large this mural is. The chrysanthemum is Chicago's official flower, and that's why it's featured so prominently in the mural. Let's just see a few other sites painted by Wheezy Jones. You have the music school in the South Loop. Wheezy painted this. She also painted the side of this apartment building in the West Town. Now, she also uses a very special technique. It's a self-adhesive, removable wheat paste. She can apply it and reposition these beautiful flowers. It is difficult to paint on brick. The peony that is highly featured there is 40 feet high. It is amazing, awestruck. I just stood there and stared and stared and stared and went back several times. Now, let's travel to Chinatown. These underpasses, they were completely rusted. The Pingtown Memorial Park was created in 1998 on the east bank of the Chicago River. And if you want to get there, one of the easiest ways is take a river taxi from downtown to Chinatown. They have kayak rentals and they have a beautiful park along the river. But here, these underpasses have been just recently designed. You have the landscape design and you have the symbols, the symbolic flowers of the Chinese culture. They're native plants to Chicago. They represent the four gentlemen, the four seasons of various moral characters. So you have the orchid, spring for grace and integrity, bamboo, summer for tolerance and integrity, the chrysanthemum, it symbolizes autumn for elegance and purity, and the plum blossom, winter for strength in adversity. Some of the native plants include ginkgo, prairie drop grass, thistle, and bee balm. So if you see the top, that's what this area looked like. These are boards affixed to the side wall. Another mural is the Chinese cloisonne. This is 2 blocks away. It is beautiful. Let's travel downtown 2 blocks west of the Kennedy, and this is the largest mural in Chicago. It was completed in October of 2020. It is 300 feet long and 26 feet tall. And Oprah came for the grand celebration in October of 2020, and she was blown away. She felt that it captured her perfectly. She was thrilled. Sean Michael Warren was the artist, the same artist who did Harold Washington and Ida B. Wells and Katherine Johnson. So he was able to catch every essence of her beauty. We also have 4 artists working on this very large mural. So you had one artist working on the geometric patterns, another on the cupids and the bee balm. It is a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful mural. That's the Magpie. Now we'll travel to North Avenue. On North Avenue is a wooden home. This house comes right up to the sidewalk. I don't know how it passed code, but it did. Now, the artist, Eduardo Cobra, designed this mural of Vivian Mayer. If you're not familiar with Vivian Mayer, she was the nanny who took photos nonstop of Chicago. She took everyday moments and transformed them into something extraordinary. She was not famous in her life. After her death, and they opened her storage locker and found hundreds of thousands of negatives, black and white and color. She was so good and so recognized after her death for being a phenomenal photographer, catching Chicago's essence, that there has already been an exhibit at the Chicago History Museum of her black and white photos. And right now, there is an exhibit of her color photos. Now, the artist, Eduardo Cobra, really is known for using vibrant colors. And he designed Muddy Waters in the Loop, 9-story, State and Washington Street. Eduardo Cobra is from Brazil. He is known for doing lots of musicians. He has done the mural of Bob Dylan in Minneapolis and David Bowie in Jersey City. So this, you see the scaffolding at the very top left. He has artists working for him, but Eduardo Cobra is known for his geometric patterns of the yellow, the blue, the purple, the red. It's breathtaking, and it is alive and well at the corner of State and Washington. Our very first slide did feature Quincy Jones. This is 30 feet high and 40 feet wide. We're back on Milwaukee Avenue. Quincy Jones is a South Side native, a music industry legend. He has been, he has won an Emmy. He's won a Grammy. He's been nominated 7 times for an Oscar, and he has won a Tony Award. That makes him an almost EGOT winner. The artist is Cobra, different spelling, different nationality. This Cobra created this. He is a phenomenal artist from Argentina. 2 blocks south, one of my favorites. I hope it's your favorite too. Robin Williams. This gigantic mural is painted on the side of Concord Music Hall, and he depicts the face, of course, from the nose up, of legendary actor and comic Chicago native, Robin Williams. Robin Williams was born here. His parents did move to Michigan when he was in elementary school. But look at his beautiful blue eyes. It is featured, it jumped there, his eyes jump off the page. Now, why are they blue? He's surrounded by tons of laughing blue genies, the character he voiced in the animated movie Aladdin. These artists are from New Zealand. A lot of artists do not want us to know their legal names, so they go by the name Jerkface and Dippy. They did a phenomenal job. I just think that Robin Williams seems very much alive in Logan Square here. Now, if you travel to Jefferson Park off the highway, you'll see these Ed Peshky murals. Ed Peshky is famous for his blurred fluorescent bands of color. The murals on the viaduct leading into Jefferson Park, and one mural, the bottom right, is on the wall at the Ed Peshky Art Center that was established after his death. Ed Peshky did teach at the Art Institute, and he is known for this style of art. If we go downtown to the rear of the cultural center, the alley is Garland Court. It's usually pretty dark in there, pretty narrow, but Carrie James Marshall was able to capture women who shaped the arts and culture in Chicago. He's featuring 20 outstanding women instrumental in Chicago's art, entertainment, politics, culture. You have Gwendolyn Brooks featured, and Maggie Daley and Oprah Winfrey, but then there's Ruth Page, but there's lesser known women who formed theaters and did other wonderful artistic endeavors here in Chicago. Carrie James Marshall was 87 when he designed this. He was not going up on that scaffolding. He needed to have a wonderful collaborator. And the best collaborator in Chicago is Jeffrey Zimmerman. Jeffrey Zimmerman does work for the Art Institute. He does murals all over Chicago. And Jeffrey Zimmerman was the artist that the Art Institute used at the corner of Erie and Michigan in 2019, when they wanted to capture Andy Warhol's Marilyn Monroe mural. Jeffrey Zimmerman is a wonderful individual. I want to show you his technique up on the scaffolding. If you happen to have any motion sensitivity, please turn away for the next 60 seconds, because I just want to show you Jeffrey at work. The mural isn't there any longer. It is just a temporary mural that was there in 2019, but still one of my favorites from 2019. You see the beautiful mural. I think Jeffrey caught every essence of Marilyn Monroe there. It's Andy Warhol's Marilyn Monroe. Now for another celebrity, Dolly Parton. This mural is on Broadway near Bryn Mawr. And this is an entertainment venue behind the American flag. Michelle Little and Robin Little, her partner, they were distraught that their fence was painted several times with graffiti, and they didn't know how to stop it. And they thought, and they said, well, maybe if Dolly Parton greeted the commuters up and down Broadway, then maybe the graffiti would stop. And it did. There they are on Broadway greeting the commuters from 9 to 5. The artist Michelle Little also did this beautiful portrait of Charlie Chaplin. It's on a door in the Clifton Avenue Street Gallery. Clifton Avenue is near the Wilson Red Line. It's at Argyle Street. You would say that it's not really a street because Clifton Avenue reminds me of a little alley. There are 24 murals on Clifton Avenue, and it is so narrow. But it has been recognized by the city of Chicago because you can see on the far right side that they have given each mural a number. They've recognized it with a city stamp. And this Hannah House shelter is at the entrance to Clifton Avenue. Hannah House is a shelter, and the artist Stephen Teller has caught the essence of Hannah House shelter on the wall of the shelter. Now, Stephen Teller also did this phenomenal mural on the wall of an apartment building very close to the Montrose Beach Bird Sanctuary. And here you have the sparrows that are celebrated. Let's go on Clifton Avenue, and here are Garden of Hopes by Anthony Llewellyn, and you might remember he painted Lakeview. And Coy, I just thought it was whimsical, jumping off the wall and the sidewalk. And that leads us into our whimsical characters. You have Centrock, who invented Birdman. Birdman is located on the Kennedy Expressway, and in the winter and fall, you can see this beautiful cardinal-like masked gentleman, and he's called Birdman. And Birdman symbolizes freedom. The artist wanted us to feel the upward projection of hope and empowerment. This apartment building hired Centrock to paint 3 sides of their apartment building along the Kennedy. It actually captures the great sense of humanity here, of different nationalities and characters all working together. And Centrock wanted us on many, many billboards to feel that we were all in the pandemic together and that we could all work together for peace and harmony. Nick Gottling, he's the artist from Maxwell Street. I love that he decided to capture holding up the bridge overpass. This is near Northeastern Illinois University, El Centro campus. I love that he decided to capture a woman with her bracelets, bangling, and her purse and her keys and her books. Remember, she's going off to Northeastern University. And in the short time, she's also holding up the overpass. It's wonderful the way he captured it. In the South Loop, you have Moose Bubble. The whole South Loop now has murals on many of the high rises and in the parking lots because Columbia College has contests, and this contest was from 2014. The student and alumni had a competition, and Jacob Watt won the competition as an art student at Columbia College. Let's meet Flyboy. He was born when Hebrew Brentley, the artist, felt that a cartoon character needed to commemorate the history that we forgot. He wanted you to know that the Tuskegee Airmen were important to our history. He wanted you to know that when he was growing up, there were no Black comic book characters. And he invented Flyboy and Flygirl, and they're running all over the city. So on the handout, I give you 2 locations. You have them on the Nike store and running all over Uptown. Uplift character is on several elevated stations, and this is the newest Uplift character. if any of you know where Margie's Candies are, at Armitage, Milwaukee, and Western, this is in the parking lot at McDonald's. Uplift character is exactly what it says. He wants you to feel that you can make the rain go away, you deserve to be happy. Art heals Chicago. It's exactly what it says. Makes us feel better to have all these beautiful viaducts, underpasses. There's Frida Kahlo featured on the right. Her exhibit was in Glen Ellen. It's there just the beginning of September. Now, I don't think it would be fair if we covered just murals and no mosaics. So let's just cover a few mosaics and bricolage. It means something constructed or created from a diverse range of available things. I was driving on Sheridan Road near Lawrence, and I was blown away with this building. It's the Alternatives Building, the Alternative School and Family Network Building. Here, these students created this outside to their agency. The students at Alternatives Youth-Driven Public Art Project was installed in 2006 and 2007. They used found materials and tiles, so it's more than a mosaic, it's bricolage. They were so good and so respected. The young people collaborated with artists from the Chicago Public Art Group, and they worked on the underpasses at Lakeshore Drive, Bryn Mawr and Foster. So you had the Chicago Public Art Group and the community and the students all working together on the underpasses at Bryn Mawr and Lakeshore Drive and Foster and Lakeshore Drive. Now, Foster is very special in the fact that the students and the community and the Native American community and the artists and volunteers of every age and skill level, they work together to create a piece of public art to celebrate and tell the story of Native Americans in Chicago. Next, Edgebrook. That's Devon and Central. That's my neighborhood. That is 2 blocks from the forest preserves and the metro station. This phenomenal mosaic, it glistens, it's got mirrors. It says Edgebrook, gateway to the forest, because it is 2 blocks from the forest preserve. But it's also where the metro station is. The metro station connects Edgebrook and 2 communities to the west. They go under this underpass and they get to the train. It commemorates our Native Americans and our community. It's inviting. Woodlawn, also lush community and illustrious history. The Green Star movement and After School Matters worked in Edgebrook. They worked in Woodlawn. They captured the essence of the history. You've got Michelle Obama. You also have the Ferris wheel and the Statue of the Republic from the 1893 World's Fair. Hermosa is at Fullerton. It's honoring our veterans. It's all mosaic. It's also honoring that the Schwinn Bicycle Factory was here, that Walt Disney was born here, and they wanted to honor the Chicago Cubs of 2016. I wanted you to close with seeing the very first mosaic in the city of Chicago, 1895, a Tiffany mosaic depicting the journey of Father Marquette and meeting with the Native Americans and the peace pipe. It is just north of Federal Plaza in the Marquette Building. They have a beautiful little museum there, and this is in the entryway, so any citizen, any visitor to Chicago can see this beautiful, beautiful mosaic. The second oldest mosaic in Chicago is at the Cultural Center. So you saw the rear of the Cultural Center. Now this is the inside. 1897, the first permanent home of the Chicago Public Library. This is a mosaic using marble and inlaid glass and Fabro glass and colored stone and gold leaf. It's jewel-like, it's brilliant. Our founding fathers felt that they needed materials that would last indefinitely and could be easily cleaned. That's the key word here. This has been restored several times since 1897. Why did it need to be cleaned, easily cleaned? The soot from the trains. The trains were going due east of this library. And I want to close with one of my favorite mosaics, downtown Chicago, Four Seasons, designed by Marc Chagall. It is composed of thousands of inlaid chips, over 250 colors. It shows the different stages of Chicago. You've got the skyline, you have our seasons, the festivities, the celebrations. This mosaic is at Chase Tower Plaza. It was inaugurated 1974. It was 1994 that we bright citizens of Chicago decided it really needed a canopy to protect it from our winter elements, the heat, the rain, the hail, the sleet, the snow. And it is now restored every 5 years. There are buckets and thousands of colors down below Chase Tower. And every 5 years, they go over this mosaic with a fine-tooth comb. And I say, thank you for coming along today and meeting all of my favorite murals and mosaics. You've traveled virtually throughout Chicago, learning some unique details. And the most important thing, I think, is that the artists and the community leaders and the youth organizations, they all had a single aim. They wanted to improve their neighborhoods, one mural at a time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was really fascinating. And it was fascinating that so many of these murals were so recent.
All within, the majority are the past 5 years.
So how long typically would a mural last? I mean, is there like a typical?
Well, that's a really good question, because they're painting on Ashland right now. And I sat in a gas station looking up at the artists on their scaffolding until they finally took a break and they said, can we help you? And I wanted to know, what paint were they using? And they told me they were using enamel oil. And they said that that would last a long time. Now, the murals in Rogers Park are not enamel, they're not oil, and they're showing their age right now. They need help, they need funding. So if anybody's out there who wants to help with the funding process for Rogers Park, they could use your help. The murals at Jefferson Park, the Peshky murals, they are covered with a special material invented by 3M. And they believe that their murals will last 50 years. So if you have oil base, if you have enamel base, if you have the 3M coating, you've got a good likelihood that they'll outlast you and me. But there's others that are not, that are just on brick, and I don't know how long they'll last. Some are peeling. There's the one at Northeastern University that that has graffiti on it. I'm sure that someone did not care for the woman holding up the viaduct.
And so when a mural, like when there's a project like this, does the city need to approve the design, and is that hard to get approval?
Okay, so if there's two types of murals. So there's the city initiated ones like on Clifton Avenue. Those are city recognized and they're in the city registry. Then there's some on apartment buildings. And I don't believe they're in the city registry. We have them up and down Irving Park now and Ashland. And some of those are just, they were commissioned by the owners of their apartment buildings. So if they needed building permits, I'm not aware of that, but they might have needed some type of permit, but I'm not sure how they went about it. But there is this website, the Chicago Mural Registry, and I did get my inspiration from the Chicago Sun-Times. They feature a different mural every Sunday. Amazing. I don't cover any of the murals that are on restaurants or businesses. And I also have decided that I don't want to feature any of the memorials because Chicago now has a large number of memorial murals, which is unfortunate.
There's a question from someone who wants to know, well, the question is, will the city clean up illegal murals in public way? So I'm not sure if they mean illegal murals or they mean more like graffiti.
Well, that's been, okay, so the reason we now have a registry is because some of our great city workers whitewashed some old famous murals because there was so much graffiti on them that they didn't realize that beneath it, there was a phenomenal historical mural. So there's now a registry and they have to check the registry. But, you know, at the time of Mayor Daley, you could call a certain number if somebody had some graffiti and they would come and power wash your wall, your whatever. But I'm not sure what is the method of operation right now with Mayor Lightfoot, or if it's city code, what gets cleaned, what doesn't, how you go about it. I'll have to look into that, but it's a great question.
Okay.
And
what do you think makes a great mural, Beth? Like what qualities do you look for?
That's a good question. I love the mural Fierce that was just unveiled at 18th and Ashland. I think that Samantha Kirk caught the spirit of the 7 participants. I just feel that when you feel their pride, Samantha Kirk, you feel her pride. With Quincy Jones, I think you feel the flowers. When you go to Chinatown, those lineups of they appear to come alive. They appear that when you're there, you don't feel it's dark and it used to be so musty and dirty and not inviting. And a great mural is inviting. You just feel that you want to be wrapped up in it.
That's great. I really need to, you need to really pay attention to these instead of just driving by and just taking them for granted. That's for sure.
Well, I will tell you, in Rogers Park, the streets are very, very narrow. So it's really a good idea. Glenwood is so narrow and it's 2 ways. So I can't take a tour bus through there, but you can park your car and walk, and it's a great feeling. That's most of the others you can stop and park. Bronzeville, they're very inviting. People have walked up to me and talked to me at various times. Again, I usually go on Sundays. But Rogers Park, you can go any day, but it's impossible to find parking, and but it's a great community.
Well, great. Well, I love your enthusiasm for the topic, and just it was just great. I hope that people that were watching today, decide to kind of, take this list and go explore the city a little bit and see what Beth has to say, see for yourself what Beth is talking about, because there were beautiful photography. I'm sure it doesn't compare when you're looking at a mural that's several stories tall.
That's
so,
right.
yeah.
So you're going to send out the handout afterwards.
Yeah, I'll send it and along with the recording tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody. It's been great visiting with you this afternoon.
So Beth, thank you so much. And thank you for everyone for joining us. And
thank you.
Have a good afternoon, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.